nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the Lost Ark of the Covenant.
The Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste to entire regions.
It's a transmitter. It's a radio for speaking to God.
And it is something that man was not meant to disturb. We have no time. If you still want the Ark, it has been loaded onto a truck for Cairo.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. A film from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
What's up, guys? This is Worse. Today we're going to be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or Raiders, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Pretty cool box set we got here. It's the totally
Blu-ray.
remastered Blu-ray, HD, whatever you want to call it.
Of all 4 films. First off, this movie is a complete and utter classic. I mean, not just for movies in general, but I mean for the action movie genre. I mean, 1981, when this film came out, the brainchild of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. They're, longtime friends. They've both made, groundbreaking films up to this point on their own. George Lucas actually made a deal with Steven on one of their vacation spots in Hawaii that he wanted to do a movie. George wanted to do a movie based on the old Saturday morning 1930s cliffhanger serials back in the old adventure serials that they used to watch on TV, and they really wanted to pay homage and respect to that, but make it on a bigger scale, make it with a bigger budget, make it a movie out of that, and he made a deal with them, said, if you do this first movie, I want to do 2 more. So he actually shook his hand and he made a deal with them saying, we're basically going to get a trilogy out of these. It's one of the greatest adventure trilogies ever made. One of the best. When I think of action hero, I automatically think of Indiana. There's no contest about it. It's a groundbreaking film and it deserves its spot in movie history. I mean, Harrison Ford, there's no better person for Indy. I mean, they originally were going to go with Tom Selleck, but they couldn't cast him because he had another commitment with a CBS show or something. Steven Spielberg was looking at an early cut of the Empire Strikes Back, and saw Harrison Ford, and he said, "Well, why don't he play Indy? Like, why can't he do it?" And he was like, "Well, George Lucas was like, I don't want him to be the guy that I just cast in all my movies just to say Harrison's in it." So, I mean, but he was just like, yeah, but, he would look good in the hat. I mean, the rest is history. I can't think of anybody else playing Indy. He's fantastic in the role, and he gives it his all. The plot of this first movie, you have Indy, we get introduced to Indy in a really cool way. I mean, you don't really see much of him at the beginning of the movie. You just kind of see his back a little bit. And then the way they reveal him with the guy cocking the gun behind him, and you see him kind of cock his head a little bit, and then he, whips the whip out from behind him, and you see him come through the gun smoke and stuff. I mean, that's just, if you were a kid growing up with these movies, that has to be embedded in your memory. I mean, it just has to be. He's a professor, he's a archaeologist, a college teacher, and of course he gets the opportunity to go after the Ark of the Covenant. And he, of course, runs into his old flame, Marion Ravenwood, played by Karen Allen. The chemistry between her and Ford, their bitterness towards each other, but you can really tell they really do care about each other. I mean, it's a really fun dynamic between them, and the action set pieces in this movie, it's just it's nonstop. Just one epic thing after the other. From the boulder chase to him retrieving the idol to, honestly, a really classic scene that means a lot to me. The guy coming out with the big sword, and the original scene that was originally scripted for that was he was supposed to pull out his bullwhip and supposed to have a real big fight with him. But the whole crew, including all the actors, and not just Harrison, but the entire crew, everybody except George got food poisoning from eating the local food. And Harrison was feeling like crap that day, so basically he didn't feel like shooting the scene, so he just asked Steven, he's like, let's just shoot the guy. So, I mean, that's how the whole scene came along with him, just doing, him just popping the gun out, which is the logical thing to do, really. I mean, the dude comes at you with a big sword. You don't pull out your whip, pull out a gun, and just shoot the guy. John Rhys-Davies, you may know him from Lord of the Rings fame. He's a really good actor, and this was one of his best roles, in my opinion. I love him as Sala. He's a real good sidekick for Indiana Jones, and he's had a lot of good sidekicks. This is just the staple, in my opinion, for action-adventure movies. Everything from the score by Johnny Williams. He's made so many iconic scores throughout the years. I mean, it's hard to pick your favorite, but it's definitely one of mine. It's on up there, the Raiders March.
I mean, you're just going to be humming it for days. I'm going to be humming it for days now that I see this again.
The sound effects by Ben Burtt. I mean, all of the sound effects are really iconic. I mean, even the punching in these movies is iconic because they're used throughout all the movies. I mean, just the sound of the whip. I mean, there's so much little nooks and crannies that make this movie what it is and make this series what it is. It's a good adventure story. That's honestly why I love it so much, is that it's adventure in the purest form. That's why, in my opinion, it's one of my top movies of all time as far as action movies. I mean, you have all these other action stars from like Sylvester Stallone to Jackie Chan to Clint Eastwood, and I mean all these legendary names. But I mean, when I think of an action star, I think of Indiana. I mean, I saw the first one I saw was Last Crusade back when I was 6. And I didn't see the other movies until I was in junior high.
Y'all can tell probably from my top 15 list that I'm pretty familiar with me and my uncle just loving these films. I mean, not just these films, but these are a main part of my childhood. These are one of the main...
I got introduced...
Yeah, I introduced Trav.
The DVDs a long time ago, and I think that's the last time I've ever watched all of them, so...
Yeah, I mean... When it comes to Indiana Jones, I mean, that's why it's in my top 15. At least the Raiders and Last Crusade is just because it's so memorable.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, they're really, good adventure movies. But Raiders started it all, and it's just and I'm like the guy that's, when it comes to Star Wars, A New Hope is not my favorite one. But I think Raiders of the Indiana Jones is probably the best one.
Yeah,
it's I can easily say that. I mean, Last Crusade has a lot of great, memorable moments. It's almost just as memorable as Raiders. I would put it on that pedestal for sure. But Temple of Doom, we're not.
And which I'm a big fan of the second.
You're a way bigger fan than me of Temple of Doom. I did grow up with all three pretty much equally, but I would definitely say Temple of Doom, for me anyway, does not even come close. It's not even...
I don't care for Temple of Doom either, but I would have to take a look at the third one again to really think about between Raiders and that one, because I remember it being really good, and I really liked the ending to 3. I remember that is the most memorable whole section of that film is the ending of 3.
Just kind of like this one. I mean, there's a lot of parts that are almost equally as memorable.
When I think of Indiana Jones, I think of parts from 3. I mean, that's me. I know that he thinks of the first one, but...
And I was introduced to the third one first.
I guess certain stuff just sticks with people, too. Yeah. That's the beauty of the series. I mean, it's really hard to nail down what people are gonna like. I always think of, I'm going to introduce this to somebody, what would they think of this? I'm trying to go into it fresh every time, and this time was probably the best time. Not even just because of the Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray transfer... the Blu-ray transfer is...
That's another thing. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. It's way better. It's the best looking version of the film I've seen. This is one Blu-ray where I can actually legitimately tell a difference that they went back and they've upped it and made it look better than it's ever been. This series has become legend as far as films go. I mean, it's become... Everybody knows... Just from the hat itself, everybody knows that it's a trademark of the character.
A lightsaber.
It's almost timeless. I mean, this is a timeless movie. I mean, you would almost...
It was probably ahead of its time when it came out.
81, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. It holds up so well, and it's always going to. That's the thing. I feel it's always going to hold up really well.
Yeah. And
with 4... a lot of parts of it aren't going to hold up very well. That's the difference between... This is pure filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like this is
filmmaking at its best, in my opinion.
Like not just pure adventure, like you said, but it's just pure filmmaking. I mean, this is two guys, two geniuses,
two best friends, if you will. Yeah.
I mean, coming together in the best way.
Like, at the top of their craft. I mean, this is back when they were doing, hit after hit after hit after hit. This was the golden age of movies. That's what the 80s and 70s. I mean, in my opinion, were the golden age of the blockbuster, because that's when Jaws hit big, and Star Wars was after that, Alien came out after that. I mean, just one great hit, that would pass into legend after another. And I know we're kind of getting into a rant about different filming, but it's the truth. I mean, if you look back at history, there's just...
It's on par with those films.
It's hit after hit. It's ridiculous how many hits came out. These films will always hold a special place in my heart. Definitely will. And I'm looking forward to 5. That's really the reason we did this, was that they just announced that there will be a 5th one. So, let's hope, let's cross our fingers and hope that it's better than 4. It's better than 4. Let's hope for that. Let's hope for the best. I'm glad
you reminded me that Disney acquired
Lucasfilm, yeah.
It should be good, even if it's marginally better. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and I'm excited because Harrison. They already have announced that Harrison will be back. Let's see it, guys. Let's hope they do a good job.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. This was our review on just a classic film. That's the best word for this. We don't do enough classic movies. I know you want to do more.
Yes,
we'll get
do.
around. We'll get around to more reviews in general. I know I've been.
And we do plan on reviewing the entire trilogy. I do.
Extremely busy.
So
it's just one of those things. But, we love it. Yeah. Definitely check us out on, other reviews and reactions we have done, and definitely have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.